Hi, how you doing? Long time no see. Hope you're well, hope you're good. Hope you've had a nice summer and you're rested again. It's good to be back. It is. We had an election. We did, didn't we? Did you vote? I don't know. It's like choosing between being set fire to and drowning in it, to be honest. Either way, it's not going to end well for you. We should have a flat season review. Yeah, we'll do that. Let's sit here, try. Good horse. That's that. Yeah, proper stuff starting soon now, isn't it? So we'll get back in our racing bubble. It's all bread and circus, isn't it? It's all a distraction, but it's all good fun. It's like I say, it's just a game. This, but it's the best game to play for me anyway. Love it. So today we're just going to keep it fairly short. We've got a bit of news to talk about, and I'll just gear my sort of thoughts I've had over this summer. First bit of news is not good news, really. Sadly, we lost Pascal Vega, didn't we, over the summer? I loved that horse, I did. You know, yeah, he might not have reached the heights we were kind of hoping for last year, but on his day, he was just brilliant, and he was just a stunning horse to look at. So he's going to be sadly missed. He is. I've got that picture, haven't I, of him. You know, and I was kind of wondering before, like, we should have a different picture this year, but don't tell anyone about the picture, by the way. I don't know about copyrights and stuff like that. Don't get me in trouble. But yeah, I can't change it now, can I? It's just going to be Facile Vega forever, Um, yeah, so he'll be sadly missed. And the other news, really, is the main sort of news, I guess, recently, is the changes to the festival. Um, my opinion doesn't really matter, does it? It doesn't. But for what it's worth, I'm not a fan. Basically, we've got less graded races, haven't we, and more handicaps. You know, I'd say generally, if bookies had been given a free rein to make the changes they wanted to make, then this is pretty much what we'd have got. Which just kind of make you wonder, doesn't it? And if it's good for the bookies, generally it's not so good for us gamblers, is it? You know, from a purist point of view, the Arkle and the Browns should be cracking races, they always are, but they should be maybe a bit more, So we'll go through the changes, the main sort of changes. The Turners is gone. Yeah, that's big, isn't it? The Turners is gone. It's been made into like a 2.5 mile novice chase, novice handicap chase, like the one we had before. I haven't checked this, but I don't think there's a ceiling on it though. But I should have checked, but I don't think there is. And I did like that race before, to be fair. But yeah, we've lost the Turners. If we look, if we take, say, the last, we'll just look at the last 5 winners or so of this and see how it might have impacted other races at Cheltenham. So this year, Grey Dawning won it. He would have gone RSA without this being here. 2023 Stage Star. He'd have probably gone for the new handicap if he hadn't got a ceiling, which I don't think he has. But yeah, I'd imagine he'd have gone for the handicap under sort of top weight. Bob Ollinger, 2022. I don't know, he'd have maybe gone Arkle, he could have gone Browns. He could have skipped it and gone to Aintree or Fairyhouse. Galloping, we have to mention him from that race. The moral kind of winner of the race. He'd have gone RSA, I'd have thought. 2021 Chantry House. Again, maybe he'd have gone the handicap, the sort of top weight. 2020 Sam Crow. He could have well skipped it altogether and just gone to the grade 1 at Aintree or Fairyhouse. Not sure. He could have done, especially with being giggies like. So if we take them 5 and see how that might have affected the Arkles, say, 2022 then. Yeah, Galloping wouldn't have been in the Arkle, I don't think. Bob Ollinger maybe, but even if he did go there, he wouldn't have been in trouble in the winner, would he? So he was a lucky winner. So Edward Stone won that, and he'd still be the winner there, I'd say. And then 2020, possibly Sam Crow. I don't know. I don't think he'd have done Arkle, to be honest. Put the kettle on, won it that year. So just looking at the last 5 years or so, we could say maybe it'll have less effect than you'd think on an Arkle. Looking at them horses, we can say possibly a sort of top class 2.5 mile chaser could skip Cheltenham altogether and go to the grade 1s at Aintree and Fairyhouse. That's a possibility, a real possibility. Say we got like some Ballyburn, Parapass, Masborough this season, one of them. You know, Willie's got a lot of ammo, ain't he, to squash into just 2 open novice chasers at Cheltenham. So I'd say more than likely we're going to lose 1 or 2 sort of top class horses from Cheltenham that are going to Fairyhouse or Aintree or both. That can't be good, can it, really? So the 4 miler then, 1860 this were first ran in. It's had many changes since that running, like 140 odd years ago. And it's this is what we've got now. A 0 to 15, 0 to 145, 3 mile 6 novice handicap chase. Evolutionary. Yeah, that's just a bit meh to me. It's open to all jockeys, so you know the amateur boys won't be so thrilled about that. This year then, we'll do the same thing again with this. This year Corbett's Cross won, didn't he? The obvious race for him would have been the RSA, but we'll get to that in a bit. I don't think maybe he'd have been there. He could have gone Irish National. 2023, Georg de Mesnil took this. He could have took in the RSA or maybe the Irish National. 2022, Statler won. Again, same RSA, maybe Irish National. 2021, Galvin. Say the same, RSA, maybe Irish National. 2020 Juvinile, probably Irish National, maybe RSA, Browns. So looking at that, we could say the Irish National could be in for a bit of a boost there. Again, there's a possibility of good horses missing Cheltenham altogether. Let's look at the RSA then, the Browns, sorry, and the last 5 years of that, see how it might have affected this. So this year, Factor File won, didn't he? Now, yeah, Grey Dawning would have come into this, and he would have added something to the race, wouldn't he? He'd had his chance there. ultimately it would probably result in one less winner for the English. But, you know, he'd have certainly, you couldn't be definitive on that. He'd have been there with his chance, wouldn't he? It would have been. Corbett's Cross, though, you know, JP had a nice ante-post bet, didn't he, on Factor File for this race. So I'm not sure he'd have been putting that at risk by running Corbett's Cross here as well. He'd have probably skipped it altogether. They'd have found something else for him. I think he'd have maybe just gone on to Aintree. Irish National might have been a consideration for him. 2023, the real whacker won this. So we'd be adding Gaillard de Mesnil to this possibly. I think the real whacker still wins. 2022, La Home Press. I think he'd have took care of Statler if he'd have turned up here. But would he have took care of Galloping? I won at 40s for this year. I think this is why I lost my Unibet account. But you could say his exuberance kind of cost him, didn't it, in that Turners, which is why Willie wanted to run him at the shorter trip. It was a hell of a slog that year. Ultimately, La Home Press may have still been the winner there. 2021, Monkfish won this. A bit low par Monkfish, so it could have been a little bit vulnerable maybe to Galvin. Maybe. I think Monkfish should have probably won it. And 2020, Champ won this. Oh, yeah. He did somehow Champ won this in 2020. Ravenhill could have come here. He wouldn't have got in the first three, would he? If he had it, he might have gone the Irish National route. Yeah. So, looking at all this, it should have more of an effect on the Browns, I'd say, than the Arkle. You'd have thought. But still, you know, not massive, I don't think. Like in summary, I'd say these changes are going to be a boost to Aintree and Fairyhouse. We should get bigger fields, but ultimately I think the same horses will be winning, I'd say. I have a thing, right, just because, like, do you know last season, one of the races I was most excited to see were Factor File against Gaelic Warrior in that 2-horse race. Brilliant. I thought, yeah, really excited to see that, you know. Sometimes less is more, you know, quality over quantity, I'd say. Same with like Bob Ollinger and Galloping, you know. You can have a fantastic 3 or 4 horse race, even a 2-horse race, if them 2 horses are like, you know. So I don't quite go with all this. We need more competitive racing. I don't necessarily think that. And certainly as a gambler, you know, the easier the better, it really. I mean, that Factor File Gaelic Warrior race, I had my biggest bet of that meeting on that race, just the 2-horse race, you know. Other changes, we're going to have 4 runs now for a novice to run in an open handicap chase, 5 runs for a novice to run in an open handicap hurdle. This is clearly an extension of the state man rule, isn't it? It is. Personally, I love trying to find the state mans and the gallopings of the world, you know, for these handicaps. A handicap full of like exposed 9 and 10-year-olds doesn't really do it for me, you know. It might do it for Mr. Ladbrokes, but yeah, not for me. They'll still find a way, these boys, they will. but they're making it harder, aren't they? We're going to have no penalties in Mares Novice hurdles, in the Mares Novice hurdle. I like that. You've got to like that. The best horse wins. That's what you want. You know, it's a championship race. So, yeah, I don't know why the penalties were there in the first place, but I'm glad they're not there anymore. I think that's a positive change. I suppose, you know, you could say these changes might give the smaller trainers a bit more of a chance there, you know. You could lay one out for this 0 to 145 3 mile 6 race, or the 2.5. But, you know, that 3 mile 6 0 to 145. If you give me now 5 to 1 on Gordon Elliott or Gavin Cromwell winning that, I think I'd take it. I would. I mean, we see him in Ireland. He farms these races, doesn't he, Elliott? Cromwell as well. He's getting there more and more every season, isn't he? So we'll see. But I suppose it certainly gives them more of a chance, doesn't it, you know? And it should make the the Browns and the Arkle more competitive, strictly speaking, by the numbers. But really, when we're looking back at them results there, it's quite possible none of them would have changed at all. So, we'll see. Right then, my summer thoughts I've had. Mainly non-Cheltenham. It's pretty much as you were, to be honest. You know, as I mentioned last time I saw you, the two I kind of really like were Fastorslow for the King George, and I know the way you're thinking for the National. I know. Don't shake your head at me, but yeah, them two. As I said, Fastorslow, you know, he's got the pace for 2.5. He's beat Galloping 3 times now, hasn't he, at Punchestown. You know, not too dissimilar to Kempton. I think he's made for the race, I do. The trainer said a while back now, I must apologise, one of the ramblers, he did message me on the YouTube thing. I've been looking for the message today, I couldn't find it, but he did tell me a while back that Martin Brazel had said, you know, the King George is his target. So thanks for that, mate. And since then I've been topping up a little bit on him. In fact, only last week, early this week, I had a little bit more on him at 8 to 1. And then I looked yesterday for this video, and he was 9 to 2 best price. So I don't know why that happened, but yeah, I'd say now he's probably the price I thought he should have been. So hopefully a few years there on at like double figures. Yeah, of the opposition, we got the French horse, haven't we? LA Francais came out yesterday, didn't he? Proved his well-being, won well. He's actually the favourite now, 4 to 1. He was so impressive, weren't he, in the Courthouse Star last year at Kempton. But you look at that race, 4-horse novice race. This for me is a massive step up for LA France. I don't know what he's beating in France, some sort of goats or something. I don't know. But he's not been beating Galloping de Champs, has he? You know, and Fastoslow's done that 3 times. For me, this is a big step up for that horse. I'm not saying he can't win, but yeah, it's going to be a bit of a shock to the system, maybe running against horses like this. You could say the same for Factor File. I suspect Willie will have the main opposition, the one I'd be fearing the most personally in this. Could well be Factor File, because he's got Galloping for the Christmas race, hasn't he, at Leopardstown. Surely he goes there, he loves it, doesn't he? You know, JP's got plenty to run in that as well, so you could see Factor File coming over for this. He's got pace, hasn't he? Got the gears, weren't he, to be second in the bumper. He stays well. But again, it's, he's going to have one run outside a novice company and then bang King George. It's still a big step up. I do rate the horse, but best mate got beaten this, didn't he, before going on and taking the Gold Cup, and he could get, Fastorslow could beat him here into second, and that would still be a solid run by Fastorslow. Give you plenty of encouragement for the future. Yeah, even at the prices now, if you offered me a free bet, I'd be having Fastorslow at 9-2. I do like him, But yeah. Factophile. Do you know, I wonder, you have these little thoughts, don't you? I wonder if he's a bit, not Denman, but kind of Denman-esque, kind of. Do you know? I think he's best when he's allowed. He's a bit of a unit, isn't he? And he's best, I think, when he's allowed to bowl along in front. He's just got that high cruising speed, and I think he can maintain it for a long time. I think that's when we've seen him at his best. When he ran at Cheltenham last year, I think Willie wanted to go the galloping route, the Turners, but JP had got this big bet on him, for the RSA, so he ended up going there. And I think because of that, he held him up and tried to give him the easiest race as he possibly could, So he still had a horse for this season. As a result, I don't think he was quite as impressive as he, I think his natural style is to just bowl out at this cruising speed and burn horses off. Yeah, just going off on a bit of a tangent there. I know the way you're thinking. Yeah, national. But honestly, he ticks all the boxes for me, as I mentioned before. He's took out the Kim York as a 6-year-old, not been done for a long, long time. And he did that on a top weight in grueling conditions, and he just bounded up the hill. The Kim York's not been a bad national trial. National horses have ran in that in the past. He backed it up in the Grade 1 at Aintree. His rating's fine. If I were pricing it up, the national, pardon me, I'd be putting him in around 16-1 favourites, so 33-1 at 365. Yeah, I think he's a great bet at that. Clearly, risk attached betting on the national this far out, but yeah, 33-1. Don't need much on at that price, do you? For a nice return. Apart from that, then, not really done much. I had a small little bet on this Willie Duhuel for the Triumph at double figure price, but he's 8-1 now. I'd be reluctant to put him up at 8-1. I don't know. I couldn't decide what to do. It seems short enough, doesn't it? The reason I backed him is just connections, pure connections, isn't it? It's Willie, Richie, and you look at the horses, the juveniles they've had in recent years, Gaelic Warrior, Vauban, Lossiemouth, 8-1. I wouldn't be wanting to lay it, put it that way. But yeah, I mean, I watched his races in France. It weren't like watching Magsborough last year. For me, he was impressive first time out. Second time out, he got beat. But horses reckoned to be decent. I don't know, but when he asked the question there, he did sort of wander about a bit before straightening up. You can forgive him that, a bit of greenness or whatever, but it's just purely the connections, really. It was just a really small bet at that price, and that's it. That's all about. Mainly, I mean, the biggest bet I've got running now is on Fastorslow for the King's George out of all my bets. Well, the Wonderings, just sort of wonderings I've had. I wondered a little about Slade Steel, just generally as a horse. That just stuck in the mind a bit what Rachel said after the Supreme. You might see this horse on a Friday at Cheltenham one day. She's thinking that's a Gold Cup horse and it's done well to win a Supreme ante. He could be exciting, stepped up in trip. If we'll see that this season or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, I just wonder how, if he's really a 3 mile chaser, then he's a bloody good horse, isn't he? He's really exciting, so we'll see. Wondered about Gaelic Warrior. This is more of a recent wondering. Gaelic Warrior for the champion chase, 5-1 top price. Yeah, we like Gaelic Warrior, don't we? John Bond's favourite there. For me, John Bond, as good horse as he is, he's not at his best at Cheltenham. For me, personally, I don't think he is. El Fabiolo's got something to prove now, hasn't he, really? He's always had this jumping issue, hasn't he? And yeah, he was just disappointing, weren't he, towards the end of last season? So, he's got a question mark now. And the thing I was thinking about Gaelic Warrior was, for me, I think the faster they go, the better he is. If you think to last season, first time up, he's just awesome first time up, isn't he? And he just ran away with a jockey there. He couldn't hold him, and he was so impressive. And then at Cheltenham in the Arkle, you'd imagine that's probably the fastest he's ever been over a fence, 2 mile in an Arkle. And it just seemed to maybe help his concentration or something, He looked a lot less wayward, didn't he, going that way round. And maybe the pace of the race is the key to him, the quicker they go, maybe the better he is. So, yeah, I've been wondering about him. 5-1. It's not a huge price to be back in ante-post, is it, this time of year? But I just wonder, what he's like first time out. You can see this horse just coming out, just destroying everything first time out, 2 mile. And then 5-1 is going to be long gone, isn't it? And if El Fabiolo comes out, maybe just a little bit disappointing again. You could be scrambling around for 2-1 this side of Christmas for him, I'd say. So, yeah, been wondering a bit about him. And I'm still wondering about Journey With Me for the Ryanair. It's just as you were, really. Like I said, he improved for me with the addition of this tongue tie this year. He was very impressive second time up, where he kind of toughed it out towards the end, which is something he'd not done really before. I thought he was really impressive at Punchestown as well, stepped up to 3 mile against the big boys, galloping Fastorslow. He travelled into that race really well, and he just didn't get home for me. He's still only priced up at a few bookies though, and 25-1 still the biggest price there. I hope I'm not being too greedy, but I just think you'll get maybe 33s or 40s, or even when Betfair include him on the market, I think you could get better than 25s, because I haven't heard anybody else talking about him, so I think he's quite dark for the Ryanair. And I won't mind a little bit on him at a sort of big price there. There's all interesting horses in that race. Elite Tomps, Banbridge Ground Dependent, Lahon Press and Brave Man's Game coming back down in trips, or doing what Protectorat did last year. I think Willie's big one maybe Elite Tomps. You can get 12, so yeah. Some interesting horses there, and they are good prices. It's an interesting race maybe to get 1 or 2 on side early. But yeah, journey with me. And the one other horse I kind of had any thoughts towards was Kopek de Board's Willie's. I kind of missed it at the time at Fairy House, I don't know how, but yeah, somehow I missed that race, and he took the race Brighter Days Ahead, took the year before, didn't he? Sort of €200,000 bumper race. And, you know, I watched the replay a couple of times and he was so impressive. Possibly Willie's best bumper horse this. I wouldn't know if he goes Supreme or Ballymore, but he's definitely an horse to wonder about anyway. And that's it really. I said I'll try and keep it fairly short today. So going forward then, we'll do an ante-post roundup. We'll do that, go through all the bets we've had, and when we do that we'll go into a bit more depth on most of the Cheltenham races there. That'll be the next video. Yeah, that'll be a long one. You'll need a flask or two for that. I'd have thought we'll do well to keep that under an hour. We'll do a 10 to follow again. Yeah. That was good fun last year, weren't it? We didn't do too badly with some of those. I might do 2 even. I was thinking about this. Might do 10 to follow, as in horses maybe if you backed them to level stakes throughout the season, you know, with the aim of showing a profit at the end of that, might kind of pick 10 like that. And then maybe I'll do a 10 to follow just with the horses that I'm most excited to see, you know. Yeah. We'll do over that. We'll do all that over the next sort of 4 weeks or so, and then we'll be getting into the season proper then, won't we? So until then, they'll be a bit sporadic, and I think when we get into the season proper, we'll just wing it but I think we'll just fall into what we were doing last year. We'll be having like 2 videos a week, like a sort of weekend preview, and then like reviewing the action the week after. Always being out in Cheltenham there. So there you go then. Nice to see you again anyway. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate your time. All the best, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.